Charitamrit Madhya Leela, Chapter 6, Text 144. Apadan Karana Adhikarana Karakatina Bhagwanera Savisheshe Eitina Chinha. So, here Lord Chaitanya starts going into some technicalities to explain how the transcendental person is transcendental personal aspect is the highest manifestation of the absolute truth, and that is the theme of the discussion going on. And here specifically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about the personal nature of the absolute truth, and he's using three technical terms: apadan, karana and adhikarana. So now these are terms which are firstly used in grammar, and then we will see how they are used in philosophy. So these are called technically as the ablative case, the instrumental case, and the locative case. So apadan is the ablative case, karan is the instrumental, and adhikaran is the locative. So in grammar there are different cases. Now this case in grammar doesn't refer to a court case as is used in legal sense. In grammar that refers to how there is the understanding that the apadan, that means there's a doer in every statement. So for example, you say the arrest, the attack was executed. Now the attack was executed by terrorists of the B wing. So now by the soldiers of the B wing. So now here what is happening? By soldiers of the B wing specifies who does the action. So that is called ablative case. So in grammar there are different ways of phrasing sentences, and when the sentence is phrased in such a way that the arrangement of noun, pronouns and verbs, it all comes together to convey who is the doer of action, that is called the ablative case. The instrumental, of course, refers to how the action was done. So the attack was done by the soldiers of the B wing using machine guns and chemical weapons. So the instrument used is specified. And thirdly, the locative case. Locative here is, so apadan is the ablative, karana is the instrumental, and adhikaran refers to the location where something happens. So the attack was executed by the soldiers of the B wing using machine guns and chemical weapons in Lahore. So location comes up. So now the locative, that is called as a locative case. Now of course what I am giving is a simple explanation, and if you go into the technicalities of the grammar, things can become much more technical. But for our case, let's move to the philosophy. What is the relevance of all these cases to philosophy? The point is that if any action happens, there is somebody who is the doer, there is somebody who is an instrument through which the action is done, and then there is some place where that action is done. So here the point that is being made is that these three are all attributes or energies of a person. These are three personal features of the absolute truth. What does this mean? Now, ultimately, if anybody is to be a doer, that person has to have consciousness, that person has to have desires, person has to have that thing, even if you don't assume that it's a person, whatever that is which is supposed to do something, that has to have the faculties for desiring and doing. And these indicate the presence of consciousness. This indicates not the presence of just a cosmic consciousness, but a specific desire to bring about certain change in certain area in the cosmic consciousness. So that indicates that there is a person who is doing certain things. And secondly, when that person wants to do so, there is an agency, there is an agent who does things. So now, in philosophical terms, the word agent is often used in a different sense than what we use in, say, commercial terms. In commercial terms, the agent is often used in the same sense as the intermediary. Say somebody, a book publisher, an author may have an agent who liaisons between the author and the publisher. So that is not the sense, that intermediary sense is not in the sense in which in philosophy the word agent is used. In philosophy it is used to refer to the fact that somebody has the capacity to do about change. So it refers to a conscious person with volition, with the capacity to do certain things. And that agent, as it is mentioned here, the supreme. So ultimately, it is he. It is upadrashta anumanta cha maya adhyakshena prakriti. So as it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So it is ultimately he who is the doer of things. It is he who is the stimulator. He is the stimulator. He is the instrument. How is he the instrument? When Krishna says prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. It is the modes of nature which execute everything. But then the modes of nature don't act independently. They act under Krishna's will. So it is Krishna, for example, in the Amrit Manthan pastime, it is mentioned that Vishnu himself manifested as the mode of goodness in the Devatas, as the mode of passion in the Asuras, and the mode of ignorance in Vasuki, the snake. So it was, so in that sense, he had originally given the plan that churn the ocean of milk. So he was the initiator, then he was the instrument, and even the whole material world where things happen, that is also Krishna's energy. So wherever things are happening, the location where it happens, that is also ultimately the Supreme Lord. So in that sense, this particular section indicates the pervasiveness of the manifestation of the absolute truth, and how there is nothing that exists beyond the absolute truth. Now, Prabhupada quotes several verses from the Upanishads to explain how there is no truth other than the absolute truth. And those verses illustrate this point in multiple ways. Prabhupada quotes from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur's commentary, Prabhupada quotes, who is also quoting a lot of Shastra there. Chandansi yajñah krutavo vrutani bhutam bhavyam yaccha veda vadanti yasman mai sujate vishwametat tasmimschanyo mayaya saniruddhaha. So there are several sections sometimes where Prabhupada gives verses without any translations. And the point of this is that he doesn't want to go into the technicalities, but he wants to convey to the readers that there is technical backup available. If you want to challenge us technically, then here is the technical thing. But it's not necessary for the general readers. So he doesn't go about giving the translation. The essence of this verse is that actually everything is ultimately the absolute truth, and to think that anything is separate from the absolute truth, in the sense that it has an entirely independent existence from the absolute truth, is illusion. So now the point of this discussion is, with respect to the establishing the personal aspect of the absolute truth, is that if even the material energy is a manifestation of the absolute truth in some way or the other, then the Vishesha, then the variety that is present in the material world cannot be deemed an illusion. Because if it's the energy of the absolute truth, then it's also real. And if there is variety, if there is personality in one energy of the absolute truth, then of course the standard logic will follow. Then how can the absolute truth, of whom this is just one energy, how can that absolute truth be lesser than his energy? So if there is personality and variety, there is Vishesha in the energy, then there must be Vishesha in the energetic also. And in that way, it can be inferred that actually the absolute truth is a person. Thank you.